My name is Leonard Wabasha. I'm an enrolled member of the Lower Sioux Indian community, and this year I'll be 50. I'm employed with the Shakopee Bidawakanta Sioux Dakota community, and I've been there. Well, I retired from a large global conglomerate who will remain anonymous, but I spent 20 years with this company, and they're involved in control systems. But I was offered an opportunity to come and be part of a Dakota language program with the Shakopee Sioux community, and I didn't readily accept it because I had just finished a 20-year stint of working, and I wanted to take some time. So I took about, I don't know, 4 or 6 weeks off, and I started working at Shakopee, and I've been there ever since. So. Well, on another sidebar, through my parents, we began to recognize the traumatic events, the terrible atrocities which occurred to the Minnesota Dakota, or actually the entire Dakota Nation. We're not just Minnesota, and that's, again, that's more propaganda, how we have barriers like that really don't exist, at least to Indian people. But I was involved with the Mankato powwow, and we do a lot of reconciliation down there. We have an education day where we bring in 600-800 local area school children, and we share culture with them. That could be craft making, beadwork, some of our foods, just our way of life, I guess, and of course powwow. Lyle first showed up at the Mankato powwow, several years ago. I don't even remember how long it's been, at least 10 years, maybe 15. And he had this diversity foundation, and he thought what we were doing over there was really great, because down there we talked about the horrors of the past of the Dakota, the hanging of the 38, and everything, that the exile, back then words like genocide and stuff like that weren't used, but assimilation was. And I don't know, Lyle got around, and sometimes he'd get on your nerves because he would just talk way too much, never shut up, and he'd call and use up all the tape on my answering machine, or he'd send me a 5 or 6 page email, and it just he got on my nerves, I have to admit, and sometimes today he still does, but Lyle's Lyle, and he's doing some good things. As far as Winona goes, Winona and I don't know how to say this really without bringing up AIM, but AIM came about because of the oppression of the American Indian people, and they took care of that oppression, brought it to light, just like the Mankato powwow did. We talked about oppression and we brought it up. Well, today we're still under suppression through the media, through the government, other various sources of the government arm. And down here at Winona, when I was first asked to come to Winona, I knew the history of this country, and I knew this is where my earliest predecessors lived. Wabasha 1 and Wabasha 2 were down here before the treaties were ever signed, and we came down here, and one of the very first times, and we were with one of the local newsmen, and he was doing an interview with my father, and we were up here on Garvin Heights, and we were looking out, and my dad says, "This is really a beautiful place," and the reporter says to my dad, "Yeah, this is a really beautiful place. Why did your people leave?" And it's like, what? And so the guy created a major faux pas, and somehow out of that was one of the first the meetings that we had with the local people here at Winona. But because Indian people are still being suppressed is the reason why I chose this place, because here we had non-Indian people extending their hand out, not to give the Indian a handout, but to give us a hand up, to let us tell our story. So we went from oppression to suppression, and here we're able to, I guess, begin expression. We can talk about the tragedies, what happened to our people, without fear of reparation, negatively speaking, of course. But the people here, these are some of the kindest, most generous people. And at first I didn't think they were serious, but they began to build an arena and hopefully next year that arena will be complete. And I talked with the landscaper, which also surprised me, as they involved me in the landscape of the arena, arbor or whatever, and it's made from stone that came from a bridge foundation that nearby here, but actually that stone came off of the sugar loaf, and they used to call that Wabasha's cap, because Wabasha had received field marshal's uniform from the British government back in the day for something. He went up there, he offered himself to the British because one of his men had taken a trader's life, and they needed guns at that time because the French were involved with the Ojibwe and they had weapons and we didn't, and so that's why Wabasha did that. So Wabasha actually saved his people, and there's a whole story, you know, that we probably don't have time to go in here today, but if you were interested, you can research that and discover that story. I believe it happened in the late 1700s. But we were able to talk about all the atrocities, and we were able to get people down here to listen. You know, we had that first year or two, we had local politicians, a federal judge, a bishop or a cardinal from the Catholic faith in the area come down here, and he dressed as a black robe just to symbolize that part of history for our people, the way Christianity robbed us and cheated us and killed us. But he came and he offered an apology, and I was really struck by that, and I thought, the people down here really do want to make a change. You know, they're welcoming us back, and just one thread of the generosity I've seen here is when the Dakota come back to this place, they're offered a place to stay. They're given gas mileage, they're fed, you know, they're taken care of, just like you would family members or relatives. But it's really a great place, and I really, you know, my hat's off to these people. I know that's not an Indian thing to say, but you know, I'm from a contemporary world now, so. This kind of gathering is going to spread, it's my belief. We were doing this type of work long before it hit the media, and nobody knows about it, and I don't know why that is. The local newspapers print articles, and we even actually have a columnist from the metropolitan area who he like follows the family around because we're getting involved in all this. You know, we finally got some white people to help us and listen, you know, and they're doing something, you know, and it's so positive. It's just so positive. They're always putting something I say on the back of a t-shirt down here, and you know, and that's kind of egotistical of me to say, but you know, I think about those things, and it's like, you know, someday it'll be another Indian person that they'll do that to, you know, and that's really what it's about for me, is to take something positive and make it even more positive, because this is going to grow. I'm hoping that this will turn into a cancer of peace amongst people, amongst nations of people, because we are all that we have.